Hey guys, okay, it's 5:30, so let's get started. It's going to take me a minute to get a couple things figured out that I can't do until I get on air, so bear with me here just a second. All right, there we go. Right on. Okay, so here is how this is going to work. When you're on the watch screen that you should be able to just click into and take a look at, there will be a chat bar on the right hand side, and if you have questions other than the ones that I got pre-submitted to me, you can go ahead and click them in right there. Here we go. Guys, okay, it's 5:30, so let's get started. Hey, I'm watching myself. See what I mean by technical stuff? Okay, so let me pop over to my other screen. Sorry about that. Here we go. Okay, so there's a little bit of a delay when you are watching me from when I talk and you hear me. So if you pop in a question, there might be a little bit of delay before I see it. And so don't worry about that. I'm going to turn down the music here because it's distracting and I'm easily distracted. So all right, so if you don't know who I am, my name is Dawn Jacobson, and I am over at dawnjacobson.com. And what I do is I help purpose-driven entrepreneur women, but I do help some men clients as well, or male clients as well, to do whatever they need to confront the blocks that are keeping them back from building their business out online. So that's confronting mental blocks, any type of emotional blocks that are holding them back from getting to the next level in their business, as well as the technical expertise that they need in order to make that happen. So social media, online marketing, email list building, technicalities, all that sort of stuff that needs to come together in order to have a successful business online. Because here's kind of the deal. It's one thing to purchase a business, which is difficult enough, or to start up a business in a brick and mortar place, but when to really confront what you need to do in order to get your business like that going out online, there's a whole nother set of circumstances and things that come into the works for that. Because you start confronting having to build a personal brand and communicate one-on-one with your clients online or your potential clients online so that they can understand who you are and where you're coming from. And you have to really put yourself out there and be visible. And a lot of times, the people that I'm working with are really interested in pushing themselves to bring whatever it is that they're passionate about and their purpose and their calling and put that into a business and get that out online. So we're talking about really, really core level personal things that you're having to confront in order to get your business out there online. So that's kind of what it is that I do. And I'm going to pop over now to the chat screen and see if I have anything coming in before I start taking some of the questions that people had coming in previously that people pre-sent to me. So let me do that. Give me just a second. I hope you guys are having an awesome night. I love Christmas time. I am totally not at all. But that's okay. I kind of end up doing things at the last minute anyway. And that's just not just with Christmas. It's actually with most everything. But that's kind of the deal with creative people, actually. We tend to work best under pressure. And because we're creatives, we wait until the last minute to get things going and done. And then bam, we like push it out super quick because somehow that deadline just pushes us to the next level and it's like, oh my gosh, crap, okay. And then all the creative juices start flowing and we just snap it out there. And then the systems people that, you know, do things in a very organized and linear fashion look at us and say, you know, shouldn't you have this planned out? Shouldn't you have, like, you know, a plan as far as first you're going to do this and then you're going to do that and then you're going to do that? And that just doesn't work for creative people at all because that's not really how we think. We think very abstractly. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. I was going to check this chat screen, so let me do that just a second. And I started looking at stuff and, okay, here we go. All right, so close this and close that. Come on, Dawn. There we go. Sorry, guys, it takes a minute here. This technical stuff. So let's see, where is my watch page? There we go. This. Hola, hi. Okay, I see Shani on there. All right, no questions, so that's okay, no big deal. I prepared for that, so we're good. So I'm gonna jump right into some of the questions that were pre-submitted to me. Let's go ahead and get over there. So one of the questions that I get a lot, and I'm not surprised that it actually came up on the list, a couple of different people submitted this one to me, and it is, how do I know where to be online? How do I know where to be online? This particular question wasn't narrowed down as to where should I be on social media online, but I'm going to go ahead and go with that and answer that question right off. So here is how you know where you need to be online, and it's actually not what you think. So backing up from the process, before you start going out and creating a Facebook page, getting on Twitter, getting on LinkedIn, getting on all these different platforms, and just spending a lot of time putting things out there and you know, scheduling posts and connecting with people, which is all fantastic stuff that you do need to do, the very first thing to do is to find out and understand who your target client is. Who the heck is it that I'm trying to reach? Because if you don't have an understanding of who it is that you're trying to talk to, then you're not going to know where you need to be in order to talk to them. So there's actually a very formulistic way in order to find out who it is that you're talking to. Who is your target client? And a lot of that kind of like building a character out in a book. So if you're a creative person, you're probably used to thinking about different characters and thinking about things in an abstract manner, like I had already said. And so what the process of looking at or formulating your ideal client avatar is looking at building a character profile of who your ideal client is. And I actually, over on my website, I will put the link in the chat for this, but over on my website at dawnjacobson.com, you can click into the freebie section, and there's a worksheet that you can download on there that'll walk you through that process. As far as who is my target client, what are their pains and problems, what do they commonly search for online, where are they hanging out online, what keeps them up at night, all the things that you need to know before you're going to figure out what social media platform do I need to be on. So for instance, if my client is in their, you know, between their 20s and their 30s, and they are a mom with young kids, then most definitely one of the places that I'm going to want to be is on Pinterest, because Pinterest is where a lot of moms hang out. There's other people on Pinterest too. There's business people on Pinterest. I'm actually on Pinterest as well. But a big group or a big number, a large percentage of the people that are on Pinterest are moms with kids. And so that would be a fantastic place to be in order to get out there and connect with your target audience, if your target audience is moms, especially with young children. If you're a realtor, for instance, then a good place to be as a realtor is to be out on Instagram. Anything that has visual pictures on it. So Instagram is built all around graphics. It's about taking a picture and then creating a caption and connecting back and forth in your caption area with your potential client there. So if you've gone through your ideal client avatar through that worksheet and you have gone through the steps and process of looking at who it is that you're trying to reach online, then you are a realtor, or your product or your service has a lot to do with imaging and you can put a lot of images into that, then Instagram would be a great place to connect with people as far as that goes. So a lot of my clients, or my clients that are realtors, I recommend that they get onto Instagram and they start connecting with people there, just because the nature of putting out pictures of houses and different decor and all of those different things connect with people really well on Instagram. And that's what Instagram is for. It's for connecting all of the people on Instagram through graphic images, through photography. So some of the other, so let's see, let me back up a little bit. So once you understand who your ideal client is, then what you get into is, what are the major social media outlets that are out there? So there are really 6 major social media platforms that people are on these days. And it's really best to, once you've gone through the process of determining who your client is to pick 2 or 3 of those and to really focus all your energy on crafting a message that then goes and answers or helps your target client with their precise needs, problems, and challenges. For instance, what keeps them up at night? Well, I'm going to create a solution that helps them to solve the problem of whatever it is that keeps them up at night. Once I understand that, then of the 6 social media platforms that are out there, you have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have YouTube, you have Instagram, you have Pinterest, you have LinkedIn. Those are really the major plays. Out of those 6, you would want, again, to, like I said, pick 2 or 3 to focus on for a set amount of time and really build out your messaging on that platform. So there's not really a need other than to create a presence on all 6 of those with the same branding and picture and profile picture and bio across to all 6. There's not really a need to be posting every day with consistent content on all 6 platforms. Understanding who your target client is tells you which of the 2 or 3 you need to focus on and stay on those platforms for a set amount of time. I would actually say set it out for 3 months, 6 months maybe. Really pay attention to what it is that you're doing on your platforms once you've picked them. And then really after that, it's just the process of putting something out there, seeing how it's received, and then tweaking it and putting it out there again. And it's kind of an iterative way of going about seeing what happens with the messaging that you're putting out. Is this working? I'm going to try this. Is it working? Okay, that's not working. Let me tweak that a little bit. Okay, is it working better now? Okay, it's not working better now, or yeah, it is working better now. And it's just kind of a process that you go through of figuring out what works, what is touching your ideal client, where they're at, once you've decided which platforms you need to be on. And then, for instance, like me, I started out on Facebook, and I think that Facebook is a really, here's the deal. You got to be on Facebook because Facebook is where, you know, billions of people are. Actually, I don't even know the exact number of people, but Facebook is by far the place where the most people are at online. And so just because of the sheer numbers of people that are on Facebook, you've got to have a Facebook presence. And you know what? I'm just remembering now that I forgot one of the 6 major players, and that's Google+. So don't forget about Google+. I actually think Google+ is going to be up and coming, and it's gonna really push through that, and Instagram are going to be 2 of the major players. Anyway, I digress. Let me go back a little bit. So what was I saying here? So basically, once I totally lost my train of thought there. See what I get for trying to back up on myself? Anyone want to help me out on the chat here? Let me see if I can go over there. All right. Let me get in there. There we go. All right. So, you know, I guess that part's not going forward. It wasn't meant to be. So we'll move on from there. Okay. So let's see. That kind of covers, where we are at with social media. How do you understand where you need to be on social media? How do I choose what platforms I need to be on of the major 7? Because then I just added Google Plus in there. And the thing about Google Plus is that Google is a major player with the search engine, obviously, google.com. Millions of people go to Google every day to search what it is they're looking for. And so what the advantage of Google Plus is that it gives you awesome, fantastic search engine rankings, or bumps up your search engine optimization, and gives you credibility with the search engine with Google when you're on Google Plus. So if you're consistently posting to Google Plus and getting your content out there on Google Plus, it's just going to help you with your search engine rankings for your brand in general. So let me see where we can go from here. All right, let's see. Here's another question. How did you get started doing what it is that you're doing? All right, well, some of you know my story, but I'll go ahead and give a brief background of where I came from and how I got started in online marketing, how I decided to move my brand completely almost online, and why I did that. So I started back in when my time blogging, and through the process of blogging way back in the day when there was like blogspot.com and blogger.com, and it was all the rage to have a blog, what I did was, as I was blogging, I decided that, okay, I'm looking at this blog and now I want to these different colors on it. I learned about CSS, got into it just where I got to the I've kind of grown up on website design and marketing and knowing how to get my message out there online. What can I do? This would be and have a career path or a place or a way to sell my services and market myself as valuable in the working world. So what I did to amp that up was I went online and I started taking all sorts of free courses about how and all the ins and outs of internet marketing. And then I went and took some of their open courses on MIT, and their open courses. And if you know what an open course is, education. So they provide classes online. So if there was ever a marketing class online or anything that had to do with business, then I would sign up for that class and I would learn through the process, educational classes that they taught at MIT and Stanford. But obviously you don't get the degree for it, but you still get the knowledge. So I spent on the other things, like the other thing I can do is I'm going to go and I'm going to look up the textbooks that they're teaching in these classes. Some of them I knew because I was taking open courses, and I'm going to go get the textbooks and I'm going to read them and teach myself. So that is actually how I got a. What I did through that process when my daughter did go back to school is I launched a website design in online marketing business called Jacobson Creative. And I started building up clientele websites for people. And that went along pretty well. But then I started to figure out that I was a creative type person, and that the creative side of doing the design and the idea processing, that was the exciting part to me. The consulting piece, the educating, the training, that was really where my niche was at. And what happened was I would go in to visit my clients for my website design, and they'd say, hey, I just want to hire you to do some consulting. Can you just tell me, you know, how it is that I need to set up my strategic planning for my marketing for the next 6 months for my business? And then, you know, if you want to do the website, that's cool too. But I just really want to hire you for your knowledge about marketing. And so I took that and I'm like, hey, okay, people are saying that this is valuable, so I'm going to go ahead and go down that pathway. And so as that progressed over time, I realized that not only were people seeing that there was value in me doing this, but at the same time, I didn't like doing the coding and all of the back-end work that was required for a website development and getting a website going and all of that systems piece of things. And so what I did in June of this year is I decided to totally go out online and launch a coaching and consulting business with my name at dawnjacobson.com and really start offering people help in the way that I best knew how, which is by offering them training and mastermind collaboration as to how they could get their brand online and further their business with new media or online marketing. And so that's kind of how I got started doing what it is that I'm doing. And now what I do mostly is, besides these trainings that I provide, I also help specifically women entrepreneurs to align their business with their purpose, to understand who they were created to be, and to take that and build it into a flexible business that earns them the income that they need in order to do what it is that they need to do with their family. That's kind of just something that's close to my heart because I am a mom. And so that's what I do. And then on the side, I also end up helping some and doing some still website design and development and doing some marketing consultant for actual brick and mortars in the local area here. So that's how I got started doing what it is that I do, and how I am where I am right now. And okay, so that answers that question. Let's see what's next here. Let me check the chat and see if we've got anything going on there. You know, we really need some Christmas music right now. And I had the Christmas music on, but it totally was distracting me from talking. And so I had to turn it off, which is kind of a bummer because this was totally supposed to be a holiday party. I suppose I could get up and like dance around and stuff, and I would amuse myself, but I'm not sure if that would amuse you guys. So let me get over to the screen here and see if I've got anything else coming up. Give me just a second. Hey, there we go. Hey, all right. We've got some more people. Woohoo! All righty. Here we go. Can you explain Google Plus in more detail? I don't really know what it is or what it is good for. I have it, but I know I'm not utilizing it. Okay, Google Plus is actually something that came out. I don't know the exact year that it came out, but let's say, I would say it's probably been about 4 years now since it really started ramping up and taking off. That's my educated guess. But Google Plus came out of Google, imagine that. And it is a social media platform that is a competitor to Facebook. Every social media platform has its own way of operating. It has its own perks. And like I said earlier in the Hangout, there's reasons to be on each one. But essentially, Google Plus is connected to your Gmail and to your Google account. So if you have a Gmail account, you also have a Google Plus account. You can go in there and set up your profile. You can make posts to your Google Plus profile and page just like you can on Facebook. And you can add people to your circle, and people can add you to their circle. So essentially, having somebody in your circle is kind of like friending them on Facebook. And so what Google has done, and their kind of offering that made them different in the beginning from Facebook, was before, Facebook allowed you to customize who you could, your audience, who you could post things to, which is something that not a lot of people know as well. On Facebook, you can choose to show things to certain audiences. So for instance, for me, let me make sure that I come back to Google Plus here, make a mental note. But when you're on Facebook, you can, for me, I can create lists of different audience segments that I have. So I have a audience for people that specifically want to know about when I talk about gifted education, or what it means to be gifted, or what it means to be a creative. And so I've taken all of the people that are in my list right now, happens to be, I have about 700 or so plus friends on Facebook. And so I can segment that out and create an audience and put whomever from my 700 plus friends into that segment. So into gifted, or whatever it is that I want to call it. And so when I make a post that's specifically about gifted, then I can choose the audience for gifted, and only those people that I put into that list will be able to view that post. So therefore, it allows you to target what it is that you are putting out online, especially on Facebook and on Google Plus, so that your friends from church, or your friends from, you know, your 9-to-5 job, who aren't necessarily interested in what it is that you're talking about in other aspects of your life or your business, they don't have to look at those types of things, or you don't have to even let them know that you're talking about those types of things. So you can narrow down your audience very, very, very narrowly, even down to one person. So if you want to create a post that only one person will see without putting it onto their page, you can go ahead and choose to only show that to that particular person. And that has evolved over time, over the last couple of years. Facebook, after Google Plus, went ahead and created Circles, which was kind of the premier offering for how to narrow your audience, in answer to the fact that Facebook didn't have that. Then Facebook then, of course, is like, hey, Google Plus is doing this, so I need to come back. And what they did then, Facebook, is they let you start to begin to create custom lists or custom audiences. So an advantage, or used to be an advantage to Google Plus, was that you could put people into circles and only show content to certain circle members. The huge benefit to Google Plus, like I already went through, is that it really, really, really is fantastic for your search engine optimization. So you can establish yourself as an expert in a certain niche by posting to Google Plus, because the search engines, when people go into Google Plus, are really, 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 especially Google, pulling into your social media profiles now, and not just pulling off of your website. So what the Google is doing, and the other search engines are doing going forward, is, in order to authoritative people or content off of the massive amounts of information that are on the internet, is through the process of search engine optimization and all of the algorithms that they have, they go out and take a look at who's talking about the really important things in what these people are searching for. So if I search for something on leadership, or a long string like how do I be more productive on the weekend, then what's that's going to do is that Google is not going to only search websites that have that information. They're going to go out and they're going to take a look now at social media platforms and pull in users that have spoken about that particular subject on their social media platforms as well. So if you have niched yourself, you understand who your target audience is, and you are talking about content that people are searching for, then putting it on Google Plus gives you a kind of an extra edge, because Google itself gives Google Plus more authority in their search engine algorithms. So hopefully that answers your question. That's the big benefit to Google Plus. And other than that, you know, it's a really basic platform that kind of functions like Facebook. There's other benefits to it as well, but I'm not going to get into those right now. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me see if there's anything else coming up right now. No, I have not discussed Twitter. So let me go ahead and get into Twitter. I actually am having a little bit of a love affair with Twitter lately. And that is because here is the super duper cool thing about Twitter that I love. So as a creative, you have 1,000,001 different thoughts going through your mind all the time. It never stops, never, ever, ever, ever stops. Well, maybe when you're sleeping, maybe. But then you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, that thought. Anyway, so what Twitter does for you as a creative person, as a high potential person, as somebody who is highly intellectual, is it makes you narrow down your content to 140 characters. So every post that is made or every tweet that is made on Twitter has to be done in 140 characters, which requires the fact that you have to condense what it is that you're trying to say into a small number of characters in order to have the most amount of impact. Not only is that beneficial for your thought process because it forces you to take the bulk of what you're trying to think about and what you're trying to say and compress it into something that is as valuable as possible, because you're like, you got one shot, 140 characters here. And not only that, your links take up characters. So you've got really a less than 140 characters if you're including a link in your tweet. So you have to be very concise about what it is that you're talking about. And what that does for you as well is it allows you to take a look at other people condensing their content. So content on Twitter is very condensed. It's very rich. It contains a lot of links and a lot of information in a very short amount of characters, okay? The problem with that is that originally Twitter was set up to be integrated with SMS or with text messaging way back when Twitter started. So I had this fantastic idea that they're going to create a social media platform that allows you to utilize your texting on your phone way back before we had smartphones in order to communicate with a mass number of people, not just one-on-one. And that's how Twitter was born, okay? Twitter is based on SMS, or now I can't even think what SMS stands for. Give me 5 seconds. Never mind. Look it up. You guys are probably Google pros anyways. Most high potentials are. So let me go back to what I was saying. The other benefits of Twitter, or what the drawback to that is that you end up, when you start following massive amounts of people like you can on Twitter, is you get a very congested feed. You get information that is coming at you in a constant stream all the time. Some of it may be relevant, some of it may not be relevant. And so then you're faced with the challenge of, how do I sort through these tweets that are coming at me? You know, literally I have about, I'm following probably about, I don't know, 1,800 people at this point in time, which really is not that many for Twitter. But I have 1,800 people that are coming into my feed at any moment. And so if I'm doing something and I have my Twitter tab up on my browser and I get away from that tab and I work on something else, literally 2 minutes later, I can go back, depending on the time of day, and look at my Twitter feed, and I have had 200 tweets in the last 3 minutes. So how do you deal with that on Twitter? That's where Twitter gets confusing for a lot of people that are new to Twitter. And here's how you deal with that particular thing. The awesome thing about Twitter that most newbies don't know about is lists. Lists are the way that you narrow down your Twitter feed into people and content that's relevant to you. So I have probably 30 different lists that are going on at any number of time. And when I find somebody or follow somebody, I don't just follow somebody for the purpose of following somebody, unless I'm following them in order to try to bump up my follow back, because there is reciprocal following on Twitter. The point is, with your following and how you build your follower list up on Twitter, is you follow somebody that hopefully is into the things that you're into, and then they follow you back. It's reciprocal following when you're just getting started. Now, once you've built a huge platform and a brand, then you can reduce the number of people that you're following and have people just follow you. And that's where you get into people that have, 20,000, 200,000 almost up to 1 million followers, and they're only following, 1,000 people, because they have built a brand that's big enough then that they don't need to follow people. People follow them. Anyway, back to lists. So when you're getting started on Twitter, or when you're a newbie, what I do is when I follow somebody, I don't just follow them for the sake of following them unless I'm trying to build a reciprocal relationship. If it's really somebody that I am going to want to pay attention to their content, then what I do is I put them into a list. So I know for my brand that there are certain taglines or certain keywords that I constantly am about. So one of those words is leadership. One of those words is gifted. One of those words is business. One of those words is women. And so what I do, or marketing consulting. And so what I do is I take a look at when I follow somebody, where do they fit in? What list do these people fit into? And then I put them into a list. So then when I go to look at my Twitter feed, I'm not looking at my main Twitter feed. I'm actually looking at a list that narrows down, okay, I want to see what my leadership peeps are doing. Okay, so I'm going to go in there, I'm going to pull up my leadership list, and I have X number of people in my leadership list, and all that they talk about most of the time is leadership. Okay, so does that make sense? That's how it kind of narrows down what it is that is in your Twitter stream, so that it's not overwhelming to you. And that's where a lot of new people get caught up on Twitter, because they don't understand. They have 200 tweets every 2 minutes coming at them, and it's like, what is even the point of this? This is a ridiculously stupid waste of my time. So Twitter is definitely not a waste of time, not only because it's very content rich, but all of your thought leaders are on Twitter, okay? So what that means is that because it's content rich, if you follow people that are in your niche or thought leaders in your particular industry, for instance, for me, one of the people that I really look up to and that that is kind of an online mentor for me is Seth Godin. So what I do then is I look to Seth Godin and other leadership marketing people in order to see what it is that they're doing, because they are thought leaders in the leadership and marketing industry or niche. Then I can look to them to be able to give me fresh content as to where that niche is going. What's the new stuff that's coming out? So for instance, if I follow James Wedmore, who is a YouTube expert, if I put him into a list of YouTube experts on Twitter, I can go and pull up that list when I'm wanting to look at what's going on with YouTube and immediately know that whatever he's talking about today is going to be coming up, and I'm going to see it around and around in the internet in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 6 months. So these are the people that are the thought leaders. They're the people that got things out there. They're the people that make things go the direction that they go. And so if I have those people and their content in front of me, then that positions me to be able to have the freshest content for my niche. So that it also positions me as a thought leader. So I can look at what are the top people doing in leadership, pull up my list on Twitter, say, hey, they're talking about these 5 things. That now gives me research in order to formulate the content and the services that I'm going to provide to the people that are looking to me to influence them. And that is what Twitter is all about. And Twitter drives an enormous amount of traffic to websites. It is a fantastic place to be. And in fact, for me personally, Twitter is where I'm going to be focusing a ton of my energy in 2015. Because Facebook itself, in my opinion, for my target audience, has created some algorithms and some restrictions, some additional restrictions on what they're doing with their advertising and their promotional post content in 2015. I've decided with my post engagement that I've looked at and the actual leads I'm generating on Facebook and the conversion rate that I'm getting on Facebook in 2014 to move some of my energy from what I'm doing on my Facebook page specifically to Twitter. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying about taking a look at what is working for you and kind of modifying that and tweaking it and going forward as you go and changing up what you're doing. So now I'm going to go to Twitter. I'm going to focus more of my energy in Twitter in the early 2015. With getting my content out and really focusing on learning everything that I can about how to market myself on Twitter, how to generate leads on Twitter, how to convert leads on Twitter for my target audience. And that's really what it's all about. And that goes back to what I was talking about before. When you get in your mind, where do I need to be on social media? The bottom line is that you're in business to make an income. If you don't make a profit, there's no reason to be in business. And so you have to be very strategic about where you're at online and decide not to be on Facebook or not to be on all these social media platforms just because everybody else is on there, because it is a total waste of your time and it's a time suck. Because as you know, you can get on Facebook and an hour later, you're still on Facebook when all you were going to do is just check up on Facebook. So let me go ahead and pop over to the chat and see if I have anything else coming up here. Let me see. All right. Let's see. Akila says, no, her brain doesn't even turn off when she's sleeping. I'm thinking that's what you're saying, Akila, that your brain doesn't turn off when you're sleeping. Yeah, I can totally relate to that. Totally. And it seems like the older I get, like the more times at night I wake up and I have a thought and then I just, go back to sleep. It's awesome that you have a notepad. That's super, super awesome, Miranda. Okay, so let's see. The other thing Miranda says is, so then Twitter, when you tweet, can you make it just post to your list? No, you cannot make it just post to your list on Twitter. That's why everybody who is following people on Twitter has to make sure that they have their own lists set up, okay? Some of the other things that can help with Twitter, and I've been posting this with my private mastermind people and my coaching clients, is that you can utilize tools out there. There's a number of tools that you can use to help you manage Twitter. One of the ones that I really, really, really like, and actually paid for the premium edition of, which was a whole whopping $350 a month or something like that, is unfollowers.com. And that allows you to go in every day and take a look at the people that you followed and whether or not they're following you back. And you can do a search on all of your followers for keywords and narrow down the people that are not really people that you want to be following. So that's one of the benefits of unfollowers.com. There's a super ton of tools within unfollowers.com that allows you to pull people. Like, for instance, if I went in and said, I want to make a list within unfollowers.com of leadership peeps, then that's where within that tool I could create a list just there by searching my followers of leadership, and then I could do a direct message or an at message. I could tag them with something all at once. I could tag 50 people with a message that I wanted to send directly to them. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more about Twitter and why I'm using Twitter as I go into 2015, and why I'm kind of moving away a little bit from Facebook. Now, that's not to say that Facebook is not a place to be. Like I already said, Facebook is a great place to be simply because of the fact that there are billions of people on Facebook. So you need to have a presence on Facebook. But what I'm seeing with Facebook page engagement is telling me that it's not a good place for me to be spending a whole lot of my time as we go forward. And some of the things that are coming about from the Facebook experts, which consequently I learned from following them on Twitter, is that Facebook is going to be changing their algorithms even more in 2015 to narrow that down. See, here's the deal with Facebook. Facebook started as a place for friends and family, and that is where they want to stay. And really, that totally goes back to the fact I'm spitting all over. It's a good thing you guys are not in front of me. I mean, like, really, I'm spitting on the screen. Sorry. Anyway. So the thing is that Facebook it goes back to what I was saying as far as knowing your target audience. Facebook's mission is to create connection between friends and family, and that's what guides their decisions. So if you understand what your purpose is and your calling is, then you can make decisions that guide where you need to be and who you need to be in front of and what message you need to be saying. And that's really what Facebook is doing. They're making decisions based on what their mission is. Their mission is connect friends and family, and that's where they want to stay. You know, they're not going to say, oh, I'm not going to take the advertising money that people are going to put out there, because of course, that's generating an enormous amount of money for them. And actually, the advertising is not in itself what is generating the money for them anymore. What's generating the money for them is the targeting that they're getting out of the data mining that they're doing from Facebook. So they're mining your data on Facebook and they're selling it out to people that want to advertise, and that's really where their money's coming from. And so now that they have that established and there's a huge bulk of that going on, they can return to the fact that we're really all about friends and family, and that's what we're going to do. So that is why I've decided that Facebook is probably not where I'm going to be spending a whole lot of my time, other than managing and keeping a presence on my page. Okay, so let me preface that. That does not mean that I'm not going to spend time in my group, because Facebook groups are a fantastic place to cultivate leads and convert and make sales. Okay? Okay, I need another glass of wine. I mean another sip. I don't need another glass. Okay, let me go ahead and get over here. Let's see. For iPhone, I use Followers Plus. Okay, that's cool. I haven't actually heard of that one. Is that what you use for managing Twitter, Nanny, or is it just for something else on your iPhone? I'm not sure. Anyways, but I will take a look into that. That sounds cool. I love to hear the kind of tools you guys are using. So let me see here. What else can I talk about from my question list? So one of the questions, and I don't want to get too far into it because it really can be a huge, huge topic, is Facebook ads targeting. So I get a lot of questions from my clients, from my mastermind members, from people that are within my Facebook group as to how do I target properly on Facebook. Targeting properly completely goes back to the very first step, and the very first step is understanding who your audience is. Who is it that you are meant to serve? Okay, so once you understand who it is that you're meant to serve, there's a lot of things that you can do on Facebook in order to determine who you should target your ads to. Facebook is very picky about their ads. They've gotten more and more picky over time. Okay, so there's a lot of rules and guidelines around what they will accept advertising on and what they won't. And like I already just went through, it's only going to get more stringent, and it is getting more stringent. In the first quarter of 2015, there are more rules surrounding advertising that they're even going to be putting out here within the next couple of weeks. So that's going to even change it more. One of the places that you can go in order to get a ton of information, updated information specifically on social media, and it's a great resource, is socialmediaexaminer.com. And you can follow them on Twitter, just because I talked about Twitter, so I'll tell you that. I don't know what their handle is, but you can go in and do a search on there. They have great up-to-date information as far as what's going on and what's new information on social media itself, online marketing as far as social media. So back to Facebook ads targeting. Okay. The bottom line and the way to get started on Facebook ads targeting is to understand who your target client is, okay? I established that. So once you understand who your target client is, what you need to do is do market research in order to understand what they're already doing on Facebook. What is your target audience doing on Facebook? The way that you research that is by finding members of your target audience, knowing what books that they read, what pages that they like, where they're hanging out, where they shop, going to those particular pages and places on Facebook and taking a look at the other information that those pages, those interests are doing. Okay. So for instance, I'll just throw you out one. I know that a lot of people that like what it is that I talk about is Callan Rush. Okay. So Callan Rush talks a lot about purpose and marketing with purpose, marketing and building a business around who you are and becoming a light and bringing out your message based on who you are and your purpose. Okay. So I know that if I want to get in front of the people with my ad on Facebook, then I'm going to choose Callan Rush as a interest of the people that I'm trying to target. Okay. Getting started on Facebook advertising is pretty simple. You can use the ads manager. I wouldn't recommend doing that because there is a lot of features that you're missing when you create your ads in Ads Manager. Ads Manager is what you see when you go up to your page or your profile in the upper right-hand corner. You pull that down, it'll say Ads Manager. The other place that you get to Ads Manager is when you're looking at your post and you're looking at the engagement on your post and it says boost this post. That'll take you into a little part of Ads Manager. What you really need to be using in order to properly target your ads is Power Editor, and Power Editor is a beast in and of itself. There are whole classes that are done on Power Editor, a whole series of classes that are done on Power Editor. And so I'm not going to really go into that, but I can tell you that done correctly, Facebook advertising is very effective, very effective. It can be effective for your local business. It can be effective for your online business. And it's all about knowing who your target audience is and creating an ad graphic and ad copy that speaks directly to the pains, challenges, and problems that your target audience is having with the proper call to action and targeting to the right people that are within the right interests and pages that they like and books that they like and so on and so forth. So hopefully that goes a little bit into Facebook ad targeting, but really it takes a whole nother training or training series for me to get into Facebook targeting. So let me see here. Where are we at for Twitter? So Nanny, you use the followers. Let's see, followers plus for Twitter. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, unfollowers.com definitely is totally limited on a phone. I don't know about on the Android, but on on iPhone, I can't use it on there. I have to go onto my desktop. So I'll have to check that out, the followers plus, if it'll let me do it from my phone. That would be awesome. And see what kind of features it has there. So anybody else have another question, or do I pull one off my list? We are getting to the end of our time here. It always takes me a little while to ramp up and get comfy when I'm on my trainings. But once I get on a roll, you can't shut me up. So anybody have any other questions that they want to ask right now so that I can get it in real time? Now's your chance if you've got something. Okay, no, not right now. Nothing is coming through. Okay, I'm going to go back to my list of pre-submitted questions. Give me a minute here, and I'll see if I can't find one that's going to fit into the next 10 minutes here. Let me see. Okay, video. Let's talk a little bit about video. Why video is important. Why you need to be using video. Why why and how, and a little bit around video. Here's the thing. YouTube, Vimeo less than YouTube. Huge numbers of people on YouTube. If your target audience, well, any of your target audience watches video. I don't know the statistic right now, but really People are bombarded with so much information these days. I mean, we have messages coming at us. I think it was at the rate of 60 messages every minute that were online the last time I looked. As far as wherever we're looking, if we're looking at a Facebook page online, we're looking at 60 different things coming at us at one time. So our brains cannot keep up with what's going on in the internet marketing world these days or online, and just the vast amount of information that we have to process at once. So what that does is it helps us to or it doesn't help us. It brings about the rise of video. The reason that it brings about the rise of video is because we're becoming very, very visual. All right? We have all this content coming into us. We're bombarded with it. A lot of the information is visual. A lot of it is not visual. The human body and eye is attracted to colors and faces. So what that means is that if you utilize video, one of the reasons that it works is because you are able to connect with somebody and bypass, grab their attention and suck that in and keep it and hold it because you have activity going on the screen and something that they can focus on rather than writing a copy on a page. So even if you are writing a blog post that doesn't have video in it, what you run into is somebody's reading that blog post and their brain has been trained with the fact that they have all of these messages bombarding them. So they're looking at everything else on your web page that isn't just your blog post. They're being distracted. A video enables you to pull people's attention span into one spot, okay? Now, that doesn't work very well for creative people because if you are like me, as a lot of creative people are, you can watch a video and do 3 other things at once. But for most people, video is highly effective. The other reason to utilize video is because it gives you great search engine optimization if you put a snippet of your of what it is that you're talking about into the description of your video. That is search engine friendly, okay? So it's not only YouTube friendly, but it's also search engine friendly. Again, like I said, Google and the other search engines are going out across social media platforms, and they are taking search engine authority off of social media platforms, not just websites. So if you have created a video and you have all about your keywords, what that video is about in your niche and what it is that your expertise is on, then Google and the other search engines are going to pick up on that description in your YouTube video and pull that up in their search. So if somebody's searching for something that you have a video on and you really do a good job on your description, then it has a better chance of being pulled up for your particular niche. The other reason to utilize the video is that because we're behind screens, and a huge amount of our day from looking at our cell phone. I think the last statistic that I looked at was that people look at their iPhones or their cell phones and Facebook like 40 times a day, okay? Like 40 times a day we're picking up our phone and checking what it is or more. In fact, I don't even want to know what my number is. That would be scary. Anyway, I digress about that. Did I already say digress? Anyway, moving on. Okay. Just a sec. So, what was I saying? Okay. So, the internet has become impersonal. Okay? What a video allows you to do is to connect with your audience, to show your personality, to show your authenticity, to be able to give them an idea of who you are and what it is that you're about. There's a whole different aspect or element that comes in the conversation. You're able to look at somebody's face, listen to their intonations in there, listen to what it is that they're talking about, hands, the expression on their face, that generates a level that you don't have in writing. So one reason for me, in my opinion, to use video, the reason that I'm doing these Hangouts is to be able to connect with my viewers in a way that lets them see my personality and to know whether or not I'm a good match for them, whether or not they trust me, whether or not I'm in their zone. Okay, so everybody has an energy that they possess within themselves, and that energy allows them to allows other people to sense who they are. Call it your soul, call it your spirit, whatever it is, call it your aura. It's there. Video does a better job, although it doesn't capture it completely, it does a better job of allowing you to share who you are and connect with other people. So that is kind of my spiel on video, and that's really all I have time for to talk about video. One of the things that I do want to talk about before I get off this Hangout is, and thank you, Akila, is the Spark test that I've put together. So the Spark test is part of an assessment that I'm getting ready to be able to roll out to my clients, into the people that I help. And what I've done is I've created a little part of that. It's actually one of the 6 assessments that I walk people through in enabling them to understand who they are, what they were created to do, and how they work in the world, how they need to create a team around them, the different things that they need to understand about themselves and the people that they surround themselves with in order to work at a 300% increased productivity, and to choose the path that is going to enable them to not only be more fulfilled, but also to serve at a greater level. Because if you understand why you're here and you understand who you are, then you can make decisions in your life that allow you to create focus and to give out of who you really are and out of your strengths, rather than trying to understand, do I go down this path? Do I go down that path? Well, should I do this thing or should I do that thing? And so what the Spark test does is it takes one of the 6 assessments out of that package of assessments that I go through the process when I work with my clients one-on-one. And it helps you to understand whether you're a creative developer, a manager, or a refiner, or a manager. And really what that's all about is it's the spectrum, the full spectrum of how we work in a work environment. So in every work environment, you have the research and development side of things, and you have the systems side of things. The two cannot function without the other side, okay? You cannot have systems and fantastic customer service in place if you don't have creative ideas that generate the services that are then provided in a consistent manner. You can't have the creative side where you're constantly coming up with ideas and you have this great and abstract and fantastic cutting edge innovative ways of working with people if you don't have the systems that can enable delivery. So what the Spark test does is it pinpoints exactly where you fall on that spectrum and enables you to understand how you work. So I keep talking about in this Hangout about whether or not you're a creative or whether or not you're a systems person. Most of the people that I work with tend to be either a creative developer, mostly on the creative side of things. And so what you go through that test and do, you answer 10 simple questions that help walk you through the process of understanding who you are. And then what you get is you get a PDF download of exactly what that means for you. What does it mean for me? It identifies, am I a creator? Am I a creative developer? Am I a developer? Am I a refiner? Am I a manager? And tells you, what does that look like? What are my strengths? and what other types of people do I need to bring around me in order to create a team that is going to enable me to serve at the highest level. So you can actually take that test. It's on my website. You can pop over there if you go to dawnjacobson.com, and it's at the top. It says, what's my spark? And it takes you right through the process of doing that. And so, yeah, that is really just what the Spark test is all about. And I'm super excited about it because I'm getting ready to be able, working on the back end with Mark Wilson from True North Group, who is a mentor for me, who has actually put together this assessment along with Pathmakers. And so I'm getting ready to work with him on some ways to push that out into a Facebook app, which I am super excited about. It is moving down along the pathway, along the line. And so that is going to be able to enable me to help people know exactly where it is that they fall on that spectrum and to provide content to them that helps them where they're at. So go ahead over and take that test. It's 100% free, and it just helps you understand a little bit more about where you're at on that. I have some testimonials, but since this is in the previous stages or the preliminary stages, I haven't gotten those out yet. But the feedback on that test has been phenomenal. Not only just the Spark test, but the assessment that I do in general. And again, like I said, that is what I do with my clients when I work with them one-on-one, is work with them through that process to understand their design purpose that enables them to then understand what their role is, why they're on this planet in the first place, and to make decisions that help them to make an impact, which is what I'm all about. Helping you make an impact. The other thing that I want to talk about a little bit on this Hangout in closing up is that I am offering from now until Christmas a reduced price on my clarity session. And I'm going to go ahead and put that into the chat bar. Give me just a minute here. Let me get over there. Oh, I can't do it from here. Anyway, so I'll just tell you what it is. But basically, I am reducing the price on my my Spark sessions, and that is a one-on-one power hour session where if you have one specific topic that you need assistance with or help with, then you can get a session with me. I normally charge $197 for that hour session with a follow-up afterwards, a week later, but I'm reducing the price to $97 between now and Christmas, and that is almost obviously half off. So if you have a specific thing that you are needing to get clear on, need understanding with which direction you should go, what you should do next, need help getting unstuck, clarity, creating a strategic plan, understanding something on your website or what you need to do next, then that is a perfect thing to take advantage of. And you can find out more about that on my website too. It's dawnjacobson.com. And then underneath the Work With Me tab, it says Spark Session. And you can go ahead and put that, take a look at all of what's entailed with that as far as some testimonials and how I've helped people out with that particular thing. So that is it. I have totally enjoyed my time with you guys. I love doing these trainings. And I'm going to be really amping them up in 2015. So you guys will be seeing more of these once that Spark test is released on Facebook. I'm really hoping and working towards amplifying my brand. And so my actual goal for 2015, the beginning half of 2015, is to increase the number of people that I am serving to over 1,000 and to increase my Twitter followers to 10,000. So I have got some work to do, but I am in it to win it. So, so yeah, that's a little bit about me. And hopefully I answered some questions for you guys. If you want to get into the mastermind group, I would love to have you over there. Oh, by the way, my website is Dawn. My name is spelled D-A-U-N, last name Jacobson, Jacobsen.com. That should make it easier for you guys to find. It's not D-A-W-N. I have to be unique in every single way. So anyway, if you want to get into a Facebook group where we talk about these things, where I'm going to be releasing these videos going forward, then you can go to facebook.com/Firefly, FYREFLYWOMEN, Firefly Women. And I will love to see you in there. So that kind of wraps this up, guys. I hope you have a fabulous night. It was such a pleasure. And I hope you enjoyed it. And that's it. I hope you guys have a super Merry Christmas. If I don't get to communicate with you between now and then. Love you guys all. Peace out. Have a fabulous and Merry Christmas.